Okay, guys, it's Dennis here, Muddy Water Search and Recovery. The case we're going to kind of touch on and go over a little bit tonight. This, by far, is not typically one of the cases that, well, honestly, that we thought we would ever be looking into. This involves a serial killer. This lady, we're talking about Joan Marie Butler. Her body has never been found. We typically, I don't want to say we typically don't do this. We said we wouldn't turn a case down. In this case, we have not been contacted by anybody to look into. But when I come across this case and started looking into it, I don't know if there's a lot we can do to find Joan, but I feel we gotta at least give it an honest effort. I'm gonna go into this a little bit. Joan Marie Butler. She's been missing since June 18th of 1989 from Overland Park, Kansas. The classification is endangered missing, and we will get more into that here shortly. A white female, birth date is March 28th of 1965. She was 24 years of age. She was 5'6", 110 pounds. She was wearing a 1957 Great Bend High School class ring with the Black Panther face on her left pinky finger. Caucasian female, brown hair, brown eyes. She wears eyeglasses or contact lenses. Her ears are pierced. Here's where it gets interesting. We're going to go into the details of the disappearance. Butler was last seen during the early morning hours of June 18th, 1989, while she was out with friends in Overland Park, Kansas. And again, Overland Park is not very far from where we're at here in Leavenworth. She apparently made it home from there, as the clothes she had been wearing that evening were found in her apartment where she lived alone. Evidence indicates that Butler was surprised at her apartment. A half-eaten slice of toast, a half-smoked cigarette, and one contact lens was found in the apartment. But Butler was missing, and so was her red or maroon Chevy Corsica rental car and approximately $900 from her bank account. The neighbors did report hearing a loud thud in the vicinity at approximately 4:30 a.m. on the day that Butler vanished. Her vehicle was found parked at an apartment complex in Lenexa, Kansas on June 25th. So let's go back to the date she disappeared. Was June 18th. So 7 days later, they found her vehicle. Let me get back to my spot here. As authorities were arriving, a man approached the Corsica and opened the trunk. When he realized the police were approaching, he shut the trunk and fled. The last trace of Butler was an ATM security camera picture of her taken the night of June 26th. She was wearing oversized sunglasses in the picture, but a large bruise could be seen on her forehead. She has never been seen or heard from again. Richard Grissom Jr.'s fingerprints were inside Butler's car, as was his wallet, checkbook, and driver's license. A witness later stated she saw Grissom driving a rental vehicle on June 20th. An air pistol, pellets, and CO2 cartridges were found in the glove compartment of the vehicle, and a drop of Butler's blood was in the trunk. There was dust and gravel stuck to the underside of the Corsica and scratches on the vehicle similar to those caused by branches and brush. This lets you know that he was in a field, possibly a farmer's field, gravel road. Grissom was arrested in Texas on July 7th of 1989. In 1990, he was convicted of murdering Butler and two other women, Teresa Brown and Christine Rush, roommates who disappeared from Lenexa on June 26th. Grissom, who was also convicted of 8 charges related to the murders, was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison. He is also a suspect in at least 2 other murders, but he has not been charged with those cases. He will not be eligible for parole until 2095. He's a career criminal who committed his first murder at the age of 16. At the age of 16, he reportedly killed a lady in Lansing, Kansas, which is right here next to Leavenworth. Butler is a graduate of the University of Kansas. She is described as an ambitious young woman. Despite extensive searches, none of the missing women have ever been found. Now I want to kind of talk about Richard Grissom Jr., the suspected serial killer that evidence points he was convicted in the murder of Joan Butler, even without a body, as well as Christine Rush and Teresa Brown. He targeted young women with no known connections to the killer. He was on his rampage for nearly 3 weeks until authorities cornered Grissom at a Dallas County airport after he attempted to coax another young woman to meet him there. Now, the nearly 3 weeks, I've only found this from one internet source, so I will not confirm that his spree was 3 weeks. I do want to look more into that. And I also want to take a minute right now. The reason we're kind of looking into this guy, the type of guy he was, what he's done, is to kind of get his mindset and use that to kind of help us try to figure out where he might have tried to hide evidence of this crime, or where he may have tried to hide Joan Butler. He never revealed how he chose his victims, how he killed them, or what he done with them, where he took them, etc. He was sentenced in life in prison, not eligible for parole till 2093. I do want to reiterate, Christine Rush and Teresa Brown, their bodies were found. Joan Butler's was not. The day after the roommates vanished, authorities found Grissom's car abandoned near a Grandview apartment complex. That would be on the Missouri side. Identification cards to Christine Rush and Teresa Brown were inside, along with keys to their apartment. Grissom was 28 years old. He was considered handsome, athletically built, dated numerous women. He owned a small painting and maintenance company that contracted with large apartment complexes around the area. The job gave him key access to hundreds of apartments. He was also a career criminal on parole for burglary and theft. At age 16, he had killed a Lansing, Kansas woman. He had connections to a Wichita woman found dead in her apartment about 2 weeks before Joan Butler disappeared. Someone had viciously mutilated the body of a 25-year-old woman. Acting on tips from the public, the police searched areas of southern Johnson County and in Longview Lake, areas that Grissom may have been familiar with. So I will be working to kind of confirm areas that had been searched, what methods were used. Longview Lake is not far from Grandview, Missouri. Then southern Johnson County is near Overland Park, and where was that other area? Between Overland Park and yes, here we go, between Overland Park and Lenexa. So we're going to have to spend quite a bit of time looking into this. If any of you have any information on this case, please reach out to us on this. A lot of search and recovery teams that I've been in contact with or I watch, they don't get involved in cases like this. Some of them don't get involved if there's foul play or a murder involved. That it is worrisome on a case like that, but in this case, Richard Grissom Jr. is in prison. He's likely not going to get out of prison. Obviously, he's not going to get out of prison. So this one, I'm not as worried looking into this case. As you know, many of our cases, foul play up to and including murder is very, very probable. And some of these, the people who may be guilty are still free. Some may be still in the area. We're not going to let that stop us. This one, it's going to be kind of profiling Richard Grissom Jr., areas he frequented. It's hard to profile the mindset of a serial killer like this. Very little information as far as how he would choose his victims, how he would kill them, where he would take them. I also need to see if there's any reports on the cause of death for Teresa Brown and for Christine Rush. I do know the lady that he may have connections to that was found in her apartment 2 weeks before Joan Butler disappeared. It's graphic, but it sounds like she was probably beaten to death. If that is consistent, even the one, this guy's got problems, but if that's consistent, then that helps you figure out the mindset. And it's, any way you go with this, it's not a pretty picture. So if you have any information on this case, please reach out to us, and we're going to be digging into this the best that we can and doing what we can to help find Joan Butler. I did have some reports, some news articles where Joan's dad had spoke, I believe her mom, it was. And I will get further into that down the road as we start kind of deciphering this case. I don't understand how somebody could be so evil to do something like this to somebody, but together, hopefully, we could help Joan's family find answers, and in the process, this goes, the neighbors heard a loud thump over there around 4:30 in the morning, I believe it was. Let's see if I could find that time again, but I believe it was 4:30 in the morning. It must be on here. Sorry, I've got my paper notes here and I've got the notes on the phone. Yes, 4:30 a.m. on the day that Butler vanished. If you hear something suspicious, please, me personally, if I hear a suspicious noise around my house, I'm going outside and checking it out. Granted, Kansas is a constitutional carry state, meaning we can carry a firearm concealed or open carry in our state. There's a suspicious noise outside at night. You can bet I'm going outside, I'm checking it out, and I'm taking my firearm with me. It's going to be holstered. I'm not walking out carrying it by any means, but I will have means to defend myself. I'm not going to tell you that you need to go outside and check out any suspicious noise. Report it. Call law enforcement. If you don't feel it's an emergency, call the non-emergency number. But it's better to be safe than sorry in a situation like that. We obviously cannot say if the neighbors had reported the suspicious noise, suspicious activity. We cannot say that that would have changed the outcome in this case, but there is a chance that it could have. And not trying to put anything on the neighbors, not at all. But we have to look out for each other. In today's times, the way the world's going, it takes good people looking out for others to help make our streets safer. Law enforcement do everything they can, but a lot of times they are limited. So look out for your neighbors, look out for your family. Anything suspicious like that, please report it. It might save a life. Law enforcement would rather come out and determine it was nothing than a day, 2, 3 days down the road, it come out that somebody had gotten killed and it possibly could have gotten stopped. So report that stuff. Again, if you're comfortable going out and checking it yourself, do so. Make sure you're able to defend yourself in doing so. But I'm not going to advocate that that's what you do. You have to make that decision yourself. But let's do what we can to keep our streets, our neighborhoods safe. We will continue looking into this. Chrissy was over here tonight. She just left here a little while ago. We had a bonfire out back tonight. We kind of all relaxed for a little bit. But I kind of mentioned some of this case to her earlier today. I've gone over this with Megan. And the next update on this case, we will likely have both of the ladies with us on the video. They haven't been on a video for a little bit. Chrissy, get over here, get on video. Megan, you got to talk. Got to pick on them a little bit. But we'll dig into this. If you have information on it, reach out to us. And hopefully we can find some answers on this. So till next time, you all stay safe and let's bring some of these people home.